Caitlin Clark is somebody who has been a lightning rod for adoration, for criticism and adoration, right? And the other day, a reporter, um, James Boyd, asked her to talk about the issue of race and misogyny. Now, this is an interesting question. There's been so much Caitlyn talk and Caitlyn hate and Caitlyn adoration and Caitlyn this, Caitlyn that. Um, but I thought this particular reporter did something interesting. He asked her directly to comment. He added the caveat, I know you don't want to talk about this stuff. And then he said, what do you think about your name being used in racism, misogyny, etc.? I'm gonna play the whole clip because it's worth hearing in its entirety, and then we're going to talk about what Caitlyn did or did not do right. Check this out.
Caitlin, I know you mentioned that you want to focus straight on basketball. Definitely respect that. But when just to ask you directly, when people use your name for racism, misogyny, whatever, what is your response to that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's disappointing. I think, everybody in our world, deserves the same amount of respect. The women on our league deserve the same amount of respect. So people should not be using my name to push those agendas. It's disappointing. Um, it's not acceptable. But yeah, I mean, this league is the league I grew up admiring and wanting to be a part of. Like, some of the women in this league were my biggest idols and role models growing up and helped me want to achieve this moment right here that I get to play in every single night. So just treating every single woman in this league with the same amount of respect, I think is just a basic human thing that everybody should do. Like, just be a kind person and treat them, how you would want to be treated. And I think it's, very simple.
Caitlin, I know you mentioned that you want to focus.
That sounds simple. Now, there's a way that Caitlin Clark's answer was harmless. They asked her a question about race, and she said, She said, I don't like it when people use my name in racism, misogyny, etc. Just treat everybody the same. It's the fact that people don't treat everybody the same is a problem. Treat everybody the same with dignity and respect. Everybody deserves it. All true. But this Caitlin Clark is a terrible answer. It's absolutely terrible. And I hate that I have to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I am a Caitlin Clark fan. I'm not a hater of Caitlin Clark. I'm an admirer of Caitlin Clark. I think she's a wonderful athlete. I think she's a generational talent. I think she's special. All that said, that ain't got nothing to do with the fact that that answer was terrible. And I'm going to tell you why it was terrible. One, you didn't name race. You didn't name gender. You didn't name sexuality. You didn't say what actually was happening. You heard the guy say, your name's being used and, attached to racism, misogyny, etc. Presumably talking about like the people who support Caitlin Clark and use her as a cudgel against black athletes and who talk about Caitlin versus them or etc. And Caitlin doesn't go into the heart of the matter. Caitlin speaks in generalities. Oh, yeah, you should treat everybody the same, treat everybody with dignity. If you don't, that's bad. Caitlin Clark is not racist. Caitlin Clark is not sexist. Caitlin Clark is not part of the problem in the sense that there are people in the world who don't want to see these black women thrive or shine or survive. Let's get that out of the way. That's not who Caitlin Clark is. But Caitlin Clark is in a position of power. Caitlin Clark is in a position of authority. Caitlin Clark is in a position of privilege. That's right, the P word, privilege. Her ascendancy to superstardom is being used to normalize and justify various acts of misogyny and misogynoir, sort of hate against, particular type of hate against black women. It's not her fault that people are doing that, but it's up to her to name it because she's the one getting the extra spoil. She's the one getting the endorsement deals that came on the backs of 3 decades of Black women who didn't get those deals. She's the one who's being cast as the good one when, as opposed to, at Iowa when LSU was cast as the criminal girls when they're doing the same stuff. She gets cast as special when Black point guards are doing the exact same stuff on the court in terms of preparation, game planning, etc., ball handling skills, etc. Caitlin Clark is extraordinary, but she's not singular. And white supremacy and racism allows her to be presented as singular, and it's up to her to say, not just that I'm not singular, but that I am being treated differently because of racism. She needs to name race. She needs to name sex. She needs to name the systems of oppression. I'm not asking her to be a sociologist. I'm just asking her to say, yeah, I get some shit I shouldn't get because I'm white. And they get some stuff happening to them negatively that shouldn't have happened to them because they're not white. It's that simple. And she's old enough to be able to say that because she's old enough to experience it. She knows what's happening. She knows that her Black teammates get treated different. She knows she's being afforded things that other people aren't. Caitlin, name it. If you want to be an ally, it's not enough to be like, yeah, those racists over there, am I right? That's no different than the person. I have so many students who talk about their racist uncle, white students talk about their racist uncle at Thanksgiving. Oh, I hate going home for Thanksgiving. My uncle's so racist. He says the worst things. Look, I appreciate you telling me that, which feels really like a virtue signal. Just let me know that you're down and that you're not racist. You have to do more than that. You have to speak back to that uncle. You have to challenge that uncle. You have to hold uncle accountable, or don't go to Thanksgiving. Similarly, Caitlin Clark, it's not enough to say, yeah, there's some people who are doing some stuff. You need to name the stuff. This is racism. At least at Thanksgiving, she calls it racist. Call this racism. Call this sexism. When you got people like Charles Barkley saying, oh, they're so petty. These girls are petty. Call all of that out. Name it. And also put something at stake. I'm not going to play if this happens. I'm not going to do this endorsement if this happens. I'm not taking this opportunity if other people don't take this. If other people aren't afforded this opportunity as well who deserve it. Caitlin Clark, the lesson right now is that at your position, at your extraordinary position of power and influence and privilege, it is not enough for you to simply not be racist. You have to actively, as Ibram Kendi says, be anti-racist. You have to actively be struggling against something. You can't remain neutral. And that's where she is right now. And that's why I get so frustrated.